Alright, I could not let this one go. This is a Toro Wheel Horse GT. This model actually originally came with an 820 and it's gone to one of my racing friends. And he needs the motor that's out of this for another machine. I'm really surprised they matched up a little itty bitty, it's like a 14 horsepower Kohler to an 820 rear. So this thing is really interesting because it's some sort of weird channel space frame. And we were there, we were looking at it, and I was like, I bet I can make an ice racer out of that. And it was like, well, I just want the motor. And I was like, well, if you drop it off at my house, I'll pull the motor. And I was like, oh, that, you know. And then we tried to pull the motor. And the bolts are out of the bottom of the motor. That's pretty well all disconnected. But as you can see here, we have the usual situation of the pulley won't come off. So we've got to get that figured out before we can push this into the shop and think about the idea of making an ice racer. Alright, ignore the plant growth. Look at this idler. What in the world was Toro doing? That thing is giant. Alright, moving on. You know, I don't mind showing my fails when it's a learning experience like this. Can you guys see that? See how that keyway doesn't actually go into any kind of shaft? There's no break in it or anything? That's because that shaft extends off of a collar that you can see the keyway for the collar right there. So that's why it is when we were playing with it, we couldn't get it to punch off. So now I've got the bolt threaded in. I've got my 3-jaw here that just barely makes it. And as I screw this in, you can literally see that pulley already coming down. So we're going to pop that off, get that motor out of there, and be able to move on. Alright, so here we go, just to show you guys. I should be able to give it a yank now and have, ow, pop off. So there we go, we'll come out to the light here. So you can see that. And there's the keyway notch. And that is hollow. And there's your little stubby. I've only seen this on a few Kohlers. It seems to be one of their workarounds for this kind of thing. And so there we go. Now, we can get that motor pulled off. And we can start deciding what it is we should throw into this thing for ice racing. Alright, so this thing has a lot of cool features going for it. First of all is the way that the steering is mounted. The steering is mounted this direction in the chassis, which means the belt goes on either side of this setup. So I don't have to change the steering to be able to run a bigger engine pulley in theory here. That comes back, and what we have here is a stock double clutch setup, just like you want for racing anyway. And then we come back to a very open and easy to get to area for a transmission. Now I wanted to point this out, just as an engineers will screw you over in whatever form necessary. That is a fuel shutoff. That is the location of said fuel shutoff. How in the world was anybody ever supposed to get to and find that? Nice, Toro. Nice job. So as you can see, if we rip that gas tank out of there, we drop it so you're sitting right on the frame. We've already got an independent brake right here. We've got an independent clutch on the other side. We add a gas pedal. Should be good to go.